call the meeting of the Art Commission to order for Thursday, July 13th at 5 p.m. We'll start off with the roll call. Position 1, Carla.
Here.
Position 2, J.R. Russell, Chair. That means I'm here. Mary was going to try to chime in virtually. Negative so far. Joanna.
Here.
Cynthia Mason, Vice Chair.
Here.
Tracy Davidson, new person.
Here.
Therese Kingsbury, she's walking around someplace, right?
She has to be excused.
Okay.
She's out of town.
Bacon. Bacon is still Bacon. Council member Eric Marshall. He's here. Okay, so now we got to do the approval of the agenda. It's not a big agenda, right?
Just, did everyone see we amended it after it was published? We amended it yesterday just to add the art plan RFP. So amended agendas are on the table.
Okay, everybody happy with that?
Yeah. Make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Okay, all in favor? Hey. Okay. Then we'll move on to the approval of the June 8th minutes. Do you have anything to offer on those?
Wonderful. Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve minutes as presented.
I'll second it, teary-eyed, because they were pretty spectacular. So. Thank you. All in favor? Okay. Oh, we're good.
Unanimous?
Public comment? No publics. Okay, let's go right on to the discussion and action. You like the way this is going?
Great.
I don't like, okay.
Curb
Curb your enthusiasm on it. So we'll go right to the, I asked Maria, we're gonna talk to Maria about the Filipino American Club. Is that what they're about?
Filipino.
What did I say?
Filipino.
No, that's what you heard.
Oh, okay. That's because I'm stuffed up from the allergies that's happening right now.
Okay, the Filipino American Club, and we were talking about trying to reach out and get to different groups, and I thought, why don't we just invite one of the groups to the meeting? And Maria and I, we were talking, and she had an interesting idea, so I thought we should invite her to come right here to the meeting so we can chat about this.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite. My turn.
Yeah, you go.
Oh, okay. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the PhilAm, the Filipino American Association. They've been around. In August, it'll be our 53rd anniversary. So they've been around a long time. I've only been in it for maybe 3 or 4 years, since 19, so it was before COVID. So learning from all the things they've done, I learned that when Danny Pagao was, everybody's familiar with Danny Pagao, but he was city council and interim mayor for a little bit too at the time. I guess when he was president, they had fundraised some money for what they call Ngayong Filipino. So I'm asking what it means. They told me that. I don't know. Anyway, it's something that they wanted to put out so that the community could learn more about the culture, the Filipino culture. So that's been put in the back burner because then there's been like new presidents and so forth. So I wanted it to be, since I found out about that, I started looking around at Windjammer Park, and I noticed that they have things there like the Japanese, a monument, there's a teacher area, and there's like a couple more. And I thought it would be nice to add on a PhilAm monument, some kind of a statue of some sort. That park is used highly by many of the Filipino members. They have picnics there, they have parties there. Unfortunately, sometimes they forget to make a reservation and then they get kicked out and get moved to the grass. But they'll learn. Anyway, I thought it would be really nice to have something to show the diversity of this town by having something with a Filipino and American statue of some sort, and that people can go enjoy. And then I mentioned it to him. I think I mentioned it to Therese too, I'm not sure. And he thought, well, what a brilliant idea. Why don't you come see the Arts Commission and tell them, see what you guys think, and maybe help us present it to city council if it's something that they will think would be a good idea to put something with a Filipino American association so that people can also enjoy it and have some kind of a plaque that describes what it's about, what the organization's about. And something that, we don't, so my question was, if this organization helps us kind of proceed towards that goal, would we still also have to come and present it to the city council? Like we do it together, or do we have to do that alone on our own? How does it work?
I think it would be something that we would take on.
So any placement of public art will have to get ratified by the council, so Arts Commission and work on the project, review it. We can put it in a administrative update, just get it on council's radar, and then at some point we would put the project to them. I think once we have kind of a conceptual costs and location.
So the answer would be, we'll work on this and we can do this. The good thing is, question I had for the win-win situation is you have money to do it.
Oh, yeah, since Pagal's, since he'd been on it, they have been fundraising continually so that we would have our own money to use when we asked to have this put in the park.
Is there a conception or an idea of what it might look like, or an artist that's been?
So we don't have an artist. I have an idea of what I think it should be. They wanted to put a statue, and it's back and forth right now because you want to make sure it's safe. You want to put a certain statue on there. They want it so that it represents that culture. And they were thinking of a soldier similar to that one when you go up towards the base. There's a soldier there. There was something, they were looking at something like that. But, some of us are thinking, well, you put something like that in the park, it might not be safe for kids who are going to play around there, might want to climb around that. My thought was like building a wall, and on that wall, an idea of some Filipino, the flag or the animal that it represents, the hut that it represents, a soldier, but it'd be flushed into a wall so that it's safe and nobody can climb all over a statue.
Could
And
this,
easy cleanup.
could this be done as a mural on an existing facade?
You mean do this as a mural rather than having it at the park and have a monument of some sort?
When you say a wall, well, I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, is this a structure that you're going to
Yeah.
install?
Yeah, we're thinking of having a structure of some sort, nothing too big, that can represent the community, the Filipino film community at the park. And I think the Japanese has like a, what do they have? Like a garden, and then they have the front entrance, like a gate. The teachers have, yeah, and they have, like some kind of a plaque that stands. Ours won't be that, I don't think it'll be as big as
The
the,
teachers or the founders?
I thought it was a teachers.
There's two different ones.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. I don't think it'll be as big as the Japanese entrance, what we're looking at, just some kind of a structure, a monument of some sort that will just,
So the
Give
way,
us a
what I
description.
was thinking, when talking to Maria was, you have the funds to do something. You want to do something, but you don't know what the something is. we can probably help you find somebody or to work with you to figure out what that something is. And we could definitely work with you to find someplace to put that thing and build up a plan that we could take to council and say, here's what it is gonna look like, here's what it would cost, and here's where we wanna put it.
I mean, it's been our experience though, that if your group took on the call to artist and came up with your approved vision for the piece and brought it to us for support, that might be a faster process than
Right,
this group getting involved for a call to artist through the city's processes.
Okay,
So that would be my encouragement to your group. I think it's a great idea, but it would be expedited if you took on what could be cumbersome for our group
okay,
at this point without our policies and procedures being absolutely in place.
okay,
And you know what represents your group
right.
better than we do, so,
Right.
yeah, if you guys come up with the idea.
And we probably will.
Yeah.
Probably will, yeah. What really, what I'm asking for is to be able to continue on at Windjammer Park of what everybody else has there and the different cultures that's there. To just kind of continue on that same area.
I
So
can see it
ideally,
helping
you'd want to
that.
place it at Windjammer Park.
Well, I mean, that's where all the other cultural, national, different, yeah. Yeah,
You guys already know, just cumbersome permitting is anytime you're putting structure on the shoreline.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, not the park, it's not the park, it's depending on how close the shore is, but
There's lots of other locations though outside the water line. We have that, I don't know how old that map is.
all of it depends on like the size of it.
right,
Right.
right.
We were just walking around and finding these like nice open spaces that can be utilized.
Yeah.
These nice, there's room, you know,
So-
it's just,
That's just the thing, where we have to make the square peg fit the round hole and start trimming the edges off of one and make something else so that it could potentially fit. And then I think the goal would be to, if we could come up, if you guys had, here's what we have, here's kind of where we were thinking of putting it.
Right,
And we can say, well, let's work with parks and figure out what the feasibility, because what we want to do is present something that is a slam dunk that the answer's gonna be yes to. Because if we are preset that, okay, Parks is on board with this, the Art Commission is ready to take your recommendation, your proposal, move it forward, got an agreement between the Parks and the Art Commission, and then we take it to City Council and say, we want to just go with this, and this is our recommendation.
When your artist would have an idea of how long it would take.
right, we'll have all that. Yeah.
I think it's possible.
We'll know exactly where we would hope we can have it, after we know exactly what kind of structure we're gonna have. And then come back and present it to you, know the location and, you know, when we would like to,
Then the army starts.
yeah.
So my question, I'll turn around and like ask Eric, what do you think as a council member, what kind of questions would you have if we came up to you with that type of a proposal? But if there's a block that we're missing, that, you know, that, okay, you didn't think this one through.
No, nothing jumps out of it right away. The only thing that I always try to consider is what are the long-term ramifications? I mean, what precedence does it set? And so nothing, I support this, but then is then the Irish Wildlife Society going to come forward and say, we want something that
Yep,
represents the
I heard
Irish?
that.
And then
They're
we
right
want-
outside, they're next.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and then,
Right.
so what kind of, what precedence does that set? How many people or how many other groups are gonna be coming now and saying, okay, this is what we wanna do? And which is great, I mean, because we want art to represent our community, right? But
Right,
is that necessarily the best place? We're still gonna do phase 2 of Windjammer Park, and so is some of that stuff gonna be moved out of Windjammer eventually and put somewhere else? And so that's the only thought that I have right now, is I know that we still have to do a phase 2 of Windjammer. What does that look like? How do we incorporate this? And then potentially other pieces, because we wanna make sure that we have space for these other pieces, because we wanna be accepting to everybody and open to all, so. I think.
That's a good point though, because that would help us also think of other locations,
Yeah.
if that is not a possibility.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
There's the trail to the park.
Right, right. I mean, there's a lot of,
It'd be
now we
kind of
can
cool,
think
it's like
about
an
it.
international trail, that, you know, you walk down. Well, we talked about that trail as having a part on it before, so.
Right.
Yeah, it's
What's
just-
there
it's
now?
not the-
Fred Marsh.
You mean the
that
book trail?
The Friend Marsh Trail.
No, from the Friend Marsh Trail, yes.
Oh, okay,
Making that part
okay.
walk.
That's good, yeah, no, good point.
So, but I think it's a great idea. I'd love to see it happen. Yeah.
But we don't have to think that that can be the only location,
Correct,
because
yeah.
there are other
Right,
locations,
right.
yeah.
Because
All right,
what you'd have to come this avenue to get that thing put in the ground someplace.
Right.
Eventually you gotta come to us, but now we're aware of what you're trying to do.
yeah, most of the group is thinking Windjammer, so that's just really what I'm thinking, okay,
Sure.
Windjammer. But now that you brought that up, if there are other locations and you're thinking of adding something international at other areas, well, why not? Yeah,
And that,
We do have a Barnstone already.
Yeah. We do have a barn stone.
And we're putting in a windmill.
Yeah.
right,
Cultural art is a theme here.
there you go.
It goes along with something that we were talking about at one of our brainstorming sessions, is like everyone really is enthusiastic about representing the cultures of our area, that like that our diversity is something that we have that's super valuable that other places don't. And so I think this is super exciting, really glad that they brought it to us, because we can only come up with so many ideas and we can't speak for other cultures and groups. So it's like, it's really exciting to be able to kind of start that and like all these other things that everyone's already
started.
coming up with.
I
Oh,
like it.
yeah, that's awesome.
So now the work's back on track.
Not a problem. And, but, you know, I'm glad that you brought that up though, because I didn't think about it. I didn't think about, I mean, I only thought, at first they wanted it by that soldier, by the college, and I thought, who's gonna go there? You know, so we were thinking of an area where people could come and picnic and go walk past it, look at it, get a chance, so it's not just hidden and being passed by. So, thank you.
I would suggest too that maybe think outside of a wall that has some.
Right.
Something that moves or, you know, I don't know, there's so much.
There's, you know what, I'm not an artist, so
Yeah,
I think
that's the
wall,
hard part. is
I
picking
think of something kids can't climb and hurt
Yeah.
themselves, you know, so until we get that artist who can give us ideas, then.
If you need suggestions on how to create a call to artists, this group has done those before.
Okay,
So we absolutely help you as a liaison with language, if that's what you need. I don't see any harm in that. If they look to us for advice on how to write a call to artists, just by looking
Right.
at what has been done in the past for some of our projects.
yeah, sounds great. Okay,
so we
Thank
won't. As far as going out of here, I'm willing to, because you and I kind of started this ball on this, so I can pick this up to liaise with you.
sure,
So that we can find out how far you're going, when you want to do for a call for artists, and we can help work this out, and then we can start looking at all the options.
great.
And then I have one question because we got here. That's just one piece. What else, what other kind of things art and culturally wise do you guys do? Function? Events or anything like that that we could have biz on, or, you know, is there something we can help on? I don't know, but it's just one of those things. It could be anything, and I don't know what it is, because I don't know what you do with any events.
We don't have any that I can think of.
Okay.
could sure come up with one. Because I like that idea. So great, thank you.
Yeah, Maria, why not do like a Philan Day? Like, we
Yeah.
have the all happening, we have the.
Right.
The Irish towards St. Patrick's Day parade. I mean, why not have a Philan celebration?
You know, I think someone had mentioned it in the group and someone said, oh, so much work. You know, what do we do? Yeah. And I really, quite honestly, like I said, I just got into it in 19 and then you had COVID and so nothing happened. So now it's this time. So I got into it because I really did not know my culture that well. So I got into it so I could learn about my culture and I'm learning more and more.
Just out of
So-
curiosity, how big is that?
We're pretty big,
Yeah, just put pretty,
yeah.
pretty big, that's.
So I look at the notebook and all the names, I'm like, I'm not counting
Okay.
that. Yeah,
All right. Anybody else have anything? for-
like I said, we're 53 years old.
I would
Right.
think there's some significant celebration on the calendar that's cultural too.
I think so. I think so too. It's just, we do, I mean, we don't do like a Phil-Am event, but we do every Easter, every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every anniversaries, because no one has ever thought of something different, you know? So okay, so they don't even know I'm here, really, right? So I'm supposed to meet them in about half an hour because, again, it's another, they gather all
They'll be
the time.
surprised when
and
I
I-
say.
Yeah, I'm gonna say,
Can I say something?
Yes.
Maria, you helped my client on Solomon.
Yes,
They were buying their house. So in that group, I just want to say to this group is that Maria is a voice, is a trusted voice in this community. Even though she says like this, no, and she's downplaying herself a little bit. And I want to say that she is trusted. When a client is trusting her to help them through the process because of a language barrier to purchase a home and get insurance on the home, she is a trusted voice. And so I think that it is very important what she's bringing to the table and the piece about creating space and asking for space. And I think that in any place that we can help do that is important because this community is, although on the, like all the other communities here, the minority communities, they kind of hide out and then gather in their own spaces. But again, this is a deep community that has so many businesses and so many tentacles that make this community thrive. And I think it's important. I think that Maria's speaking in a space where it's kind of downplaying, but it was it's huge.
Okay, there, I sent a picture when you're saying, hey, look where I just was. I was in City Hall. I'm somebody. Because I know we'll let you go because I know you need to get to Dollar Tree to pick up that Lipton tea that's going on sale.
thank you for listening, and thanks for that idea, because now we can venture out and go from there. And then I'll hook up with you about the call to artists thing.
Excellent.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye, good
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Bye.
Chicken tortilla soup.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. 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 Next, we go to the Acorn coloring book.
So Sabrina is actually out of town today and tomorrow. I didn't realize she was going to be out. So I tried reaching out to Pat, see if we get kind of an update on that. But since I haven't heard back from him and Sabrina's out, I don't have a lot on this actually, other than we want to try and get a sit-down meeting with Pat so we can, and Laura Renninger, so we can kind of all get on the same page of what Laura's looking for. This is really being pushed by the Gary Book Society. But it's a cooperative effort with Commission, the city, them and then Pat. So that's kind of all I have right now. If maybe what we can do is just kind of go over the background for the new commissioners here.
That would be great. Thank you.
Oh, I don't just on my control.
I was gonna say, send it to me and
Share my
I'll
screen.
throw it up quickly.
So, while I'm pulling this
I was
up,
just gonna
if
say, I'm gonna
anyone
use
else wants
Murphy's
to
Law
talk
to
about
work
the-
for you, okay?
Anyone else want to talk
Tracy.
about the Acorn?
I have no idea who the heck you are. Why don't you tell us? Oh, hi, I'm Jay
Hi.
Argan. Who are you? What
I
brings you?
know, I got
What?
to
How did-
share with some of the folks last time on my first, so this
I
is my
missed it. I
second
was-
meeting.
Sorry,
Well,
I was-
what's up?
I was pretending to pay attention.
Well, I will have something completely different to say then.
Okay.
Notes.
So I've been a Washington resident my entire life, but new to Oak Harbor just in January. I have been interested in contributing to local government and communities for so long, and it's been when I've just had an excuse after another of, okay, I've got too much work to do or that or this. But yet when we moved here, something just said, okay, this is the right place for me to participate with the community. I've had some experience with fundraising and event planning with some of the things I've done in the past. My undergrad degree is in art. And then I do have a master's in business. So I think that the combination of, I've got all kinds of things going on here and and bringing all that together with, I'm just absorbing in the process right now of what this commission does, and I'm excited to be able to participate.
Jumped in at the right time because we're just, I kind of say we're like the Flintstones, you know, in the car where Fred and Barney get their feet on there and they start kicking and everything. We're about the part right now where our feet are outside and we're starting to kick and run a little.
Yeah,
So,
and kicking up dirt. and
Kicking up
gravel
dirt,
and that.
yep.
Okay, gotcha.
so where do you live?
I'm just over on
House.
Fourth Ave.
Let's see your
But you have to put pause in there and says entire commission breaks out in laughter, right?
It won't be in a minute.
No laughter.
I'm just stalling for time.
Did you find it?
I could,
Yeah.
did you get there yet?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, this is great. Good.
No, okay.
I didn't want to interrupt.
It's not like I asked her how old she was or anything like that. What's your sign?
That was the next set of questions. Yeah.
Okay, so we had a oak tree that was taken down by the post office, and that tree was used to create an Acorn art piece. This is very close up there. And you can see here, there's these images kind of carved into the piece, right? There's actually quite a number of them as you go around. You can see like a little rabbit image there, face and different things. So the Gary Oates Society, we had commissioned Pat McVeigh, who's a local artist, to do this art project. And they wanted to put together this booklet, and this is kind of a sketch out that Pat had done. That shows like all the different images kind of hidden within that Acorn. So all these are, there's a sort of a front to it here. Came up with this character, Gary. It's actually gonna be Gary, the Acorn guy. And, to kind of open up and show all these different images, right? So that's kind of the concept. They're scrambling trying to put together a coloring page from all this with some additional information that Sabrina has. She can share with you guys. She kind of put together this packet of what this brochure thing looks like. So it had some information about Gary Oaks and about the oak tree that was over by the post office, and then coloring pages and like the significance of all these little images that are around that sculpture. And they were scrambling trying to get this completed in time for Arbor Day and that's where they do it. Maybe it was for the Easter egg hunt too, maybe something like that. We did get some coloring pages together, but it wasn't kind of the final version of this. So we just want to sit down with Pat, kind of talk a little bit about the ideas, what this looked like. Sabrina was trying to get some like web images, kind of a clean outline version of all these images. You can make it easy for kids to color or whatever, put it all together. So that's kind of where we're at. So I guess my only update for this is that I emailed Pat and we're trying to get a date that works for him for us to sit down with you guys. We'll probably just do it as a special work session depending on what date works best for him. Any thoughts on this?
Having just with guys that do my magic stuff that I'm part of, I don't do them. They do it. We hired graphic artists, very professional, and they come up so things look like Highlights magazine, or there's some thought in it, and it looks professional. Because that just looks like you ran it off the photocopy machine and threw them out, and then they all just blew out into the wind.
Yeah, that's originally what I think Laura was pushing, and she wanted us to print off 500 versions of this and kind of turn it into a trifold pamphlet.
But if the goal is Arbor Day, then Arbor Day is like we got
April.
in April.
So what they want to do is they want to put this together for it's an event in September, I think.
And that's the final draft.
Well, that's what he said, and that's what the question was. Is he really a final draft? And so anyway, we want to sit down with him and kind of get your guys' vision of what this should.
So should we just hold off and not say things what you guys talked about that?
So the other part of this is that this is really being pushed by the Gary Oaks Society. There seems to be kind of a suggestion from them that the art commission should be involved with this and pay for this. It's really being utilized by them. So I don't know, but I guess
How are they utilizing it? Just getting it out into the community?
yeah, for special events, those coloring pages that they'll have for kids.
This is something that could be tied, and I know Sabrina probably has the answers, Brian. I'm flipping through my phone because I'm trying to find one that she did a few years ago about I Love Whitby. That was a coloring contest in town or something. But it does look like that. It's very clean lined for kids to color in. But could this be timed with a ribbon cutting of the Gary Oak acorn itself? Because that's not been done. So it could be launched as a coloring contest in time with the, like bundle it and then they can take it and go out to the community with it for future events, but launch it at a ribbon cutting for the acorn.
I'll check with Sabrina.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, that's what the intent was.
Okay.
Because it still has to be covered, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And so that, when we discussed that, it was during the same time we were discussing putting the leaves over top
Right.
and then having that piece as part of that ribbon cutting.
It just seemed pushed very hard for something.
So there's some moving pieces with it. So like the cover, that got put on hold because the cost of it is almost double what the cost of the sculpture was. So the question was, whether we really need or want to cover it. Now you can make the argument, well, that's kind of part of the art because it wasn't just a shelter, it was like leaves and stuff like that. We really haven't talked about that yet, about the cost of it or moving forward with it. So right now, everything's kind of waiting on that. Do you want to make the expenditure to have this covered correctly?
Because it's like the way it showed up at this table. It's kind of like here, and then it just kind of spun, and then now, but then we didn't talk about it, but the art or this piece, the coloring piece showed up already, and Pat was here, and said, here it is, and it's ready to go, and then, is it ready to go? And then also, if the Arts Commission, is there some expectation that we are going to promote it or pay for it, and it goes into the future. It's like if we are on this trend of back to the destination location kind of thing, and tying that in with all of Whidbey Island, quality is key. And yes, old Whidbey would be that, very homey and, kind of, we just kind of sit around the fire and do that. But if we are putting this out into the world in this current time, in this digital space, it should look clean and attractive.
Are you talking about the coloring or the cover?
Whatever that coloring,
Oh.
coloring page.
But it's representative of what the images are on the acorn
No,
too.
no, that's not it. I'm not saying that their images are not the images. I'm saying that the way that it's put, that page is literally what they're saying it's gonna go up.
Oh,
That's the page. It's not to say change the images. It's to say that page needs to be cleaned up or sharp.
And Sabrina was kind of putting together her own version based off of that, which is kind of what we want to have a discussion on today. But
So, yeah, I'm confused as far as like what's being asked of us, because there was a conversation about cover and whether we're gonna fund that, which that's like that sounds expensive and everything. But this, thank you for saying that very tactfully, and I support that opinion. That things need to look nice if we're gonna put our name on it. If they just want $50 to run some copies of that at Staples, I don't think that's something that I think we can level up a little bit from that. We're capable of finding somebody to take all those ideas exactly as they are, clean it up, make it something that kids can actually draw on and fill in. So I'm just confused as far as like what answers we're supposed to be giving right now, except for maybe work on it a little bit.
I guess what we're trying to look for is, do we continue to work with Pat to do this and then create the product, or do we just take his ideas and then go ahead and make the expenditure for a graphic artist to put this together?
Hello.
but the Gary Oak Society wants the Art Commission to pay for it, right?
That seems to be what I'm picking up.
Okay.
Well,
There's kind of this.
How much does that cost?
Fundraisers? Yeah, what's that gonna cost?
And if we don't, it doesn't happen, or
No,
we
they
just
just
make
they just put it out that way.
okay, and we don't have to have anything to do with it, they can represent themselves as a group.
Yes.
I just, Okay. I'm
Yeah,
just
I
making
mean,
sure
yes, I mean,
I'm learning.
I
I'm
think
learning
more
all.
conversation with them is necessary. I mean, are they looking for this to become the city's mascot? Right, like,
What's the long?
what's their vision for it? So,
What have they planned?
Because this coming from them, come on, you can do better than that. That's just done on a, you did that while you were drinking coffee.
Exactly.
This should be handed off to graphic artists and you come back that something looks like a comic book or whatever that a kid might like. That doesn't fly.
It's adorable. The ideas are great, but yeah.
Yeah, the idea is correct.
Yeah, with some sort of a cost of what it would cost, and then ask us for money, or I don't know.
Even if you changed it and then you said, you know, you took a book with one image on each page that was clean, and then you had a coloring contest for the kids to go out to the sculpture and then do their own drawing of it. But not to.
I kind of feel like we probably should have Laura Rubin come and explain their stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me too.
What they're asking and present what the vision is. And, yeah.
Okay.
Great, I'm hearing too many questions.
So then we,
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of
so maybe we would ask Laura
answers for this.
to
Kind of doing this third person, right?
So who's
Well,
gonna,
right.
or who reaches out to Laura and say, hey, we'll see, why don't you come talk to us?
Yeah, I can invite her to our next meeting.
Okay. Oops. Go on to art plan request for proposals.
So I was going through our last workshop that we went over the priorities, and I wanted to get some people assigned, because we really did do assignments out with some of these things. So what I need to do is finish inputting everything from the whiteboard into our spreadsheet, and I'll just share that with all of you. But what I really would like to do is start getting a committee together to review the RFP and present that to council. We had talked last time, the cost estimate is going to be somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000. So I just
I
want to
raised my hand for that too, Brian. For the RFP review.
I didn't have any, I don't see any names on here who we assigned to.
Well, I'd be happy to.
I know that I did do that. Oh, Cynthia.
Well, I wasn't at the last meeting, so I didn't get anything.
So, given that we're looking $30,000
Oh,
to
yeah.
$50,000,
Yeah, I think we had Cynthia, Mary, Carla, and Liz. And me.
Oh, I was at that meeting. All right,
It was the workshop.
okay, yeah, workshop.
Is 3 going to be quorum?
Of 7, no,
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
we can do 3.
So you'll email us something? Is that how you want to do the next step?
Oh no, I guess that's why we have that discussion. How do you want to proceed with this? Is this something that we had assigned the 3 people for the committee to review the cost, get the scope all together, list out all the partners, and we started on some of that during the workshops, and then bring it back to the group and present and go through it. How do you want to do it before we take it to council?
I think that's the right order.
yes. if you guys,
Yes.
if the committee meets, then we'll eventually bring it to here. If we can, why don't you guys meet and you can come up with a deadline or a timetable of when you think we're progressing. Is it September that we have this coming here, and then because if this is going for $50,000, where we have to go to council and say we want $50,000 for somebody to take this and make a plan for us, that has to be ironclad. There can be no holes. So we want to make sure that that thing has got ribbons on it, bells and whistles. And it's something that is so attractive that they don't want to say no to.
So then do we have, like these workshops, the lunch?
But we'll meet as a committee.
Right?
Okay, it was Cynthia, Mary, and Carl. And that one, you guys are still good with that?
Now so I just want to get clarification on what's allowed and what's not allowed. The three of them meet and they do some committee work or something like that. And I'm free on a Tuesday, or you're free on a Tuesday, or hey, what's going on? Are we allowed to go in and sit on the committee meeting?
We'd have a quorum.
Okay, all right, that's just,
It needs to come back here and have the discussion of that at
If-
an open meeting, public.
if we, if you guys met as a committee, I just, okay, you meet tomorrow, I said, oh, we got some good ideas. Oh, man, we really want to talk to these guys, we don't want to wait till, next month. Can we have a special meeting where we have everybody together and we do a special meeting?
Yes, we just have to notice it at least 24 hours in advance. We'd like as much notice, but
I'm just trying to do this in a way that we're not having a whole, because I'm like, I'm drawing a lot from Mikhail, because she's coming to like every one of these special workshops.
And
So,
you too, right?
well,
Because I didn't even include that part of you, I'm just trying to, say like, what can we do
But
to
I think,
help this
this
around?
type of document needs a minimum of a month to get
Right,
to the point where we want to put a bow on it for you to review. So I don't see a special session meeting being needed for the presentation of it. But I do see a committee meeting
Like a lot.
or
lots.
two,
Couple.
Yeah.
couple of them. So Brian, with your schedule, you're gonna have to be the one to throw out some dates at us.
next Thursday,
What time?
what works best for you?
Later?
That sounds great. Afternoon.
Later?
Next Thursday,
Evening.
we bring you
Like
information about it? Is that?
5?
No.
Initial committee meeting?
1 o'clock, anytime after 1 o'clock. Between 1 and 4.
Actually, I
Between
have an
1 and
appointment,
4.
I have an appointment at 2 already. For next Thursday. So after 2.
Or before. Or do you have prep? I'm asking too many questions.
No. You see my face, like, okay.
She's trying to see her calendar in her head.
Broken Banjo's playing at Captain Woodby at 4.
You're like,
I got somewhere to
We've had a few
be.
workshops, talking
Yeah.
about all this, put together the survey, Sabrina's working on that.
How about 3?
We have the
Great.
stakeholder meetings, list stuff and all that stuff. We have the basic scope. I have everything I need now. I just need to draft it out. And so
Letter date.
3 o'clock,
Okay.
how's 3 o'clock next Thursday, Brian?
that work.
Okay,
Carl?
3 o'clock
Yeah.
Thursday?
At your office then?
That's fine.
Okay. Gotta start.
We ready to move on? Anything else on that? Okay.
July 1st?
No. Parks and Recreation Director updates. Okay, so we're back to Tracy. So about that, where you live?
Look at the house number actually.
Okay. Let's see, we already talked about that. Angel of Creativity, we got the geotech report back. That looks good. Working on IBC requirements. There's like half a dozen different permitting things with all these acronyms, and half of that I have no idea. But Gideon's doing a great job with it all. We The only question he had was thoughts on the payment for the redesign. So he was thinking that Sculpture Northwest pay them and then the city can reimburse Sculpture Northwest for the cost. We could just deduct, or we could pay and then deduct out of there. But basically, said, if we can apply for a building permit prior to November 1st, we can use the 2018 permits. After that, we'll have to use 2021. Give the recommendation for site class E, high SDS and S1, and the pin piles, which we only need a few of them compared to what was going to be over at Windjammer, which is good. First off, we are vetted under the 2018 IBC, and we will need to update to the 2021 code with the redesign is what we're trying to find out with our development team right now. But they have to, they have to do redesign for the geotech. And want to know who's going to be responsible for the redesign cost. I'm trying to get an estimate of what that redesign cost is. But want to get your thoughts before I responded back to Gideon. So his recommendation was Sculpture Northwest pay them, and then the city can reimburse Sculpture Northwest for the cost.
What kind of cost are we incurring on that redesign that a few people were involved with pushing through?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to.
Okay.
I asked them to do.
I mean, I know that we're on contract for the flat fee of accepting the sculpture with them. I'm just really curious as to how much the redesign is costing. I'm sure it's going to come out of our art fund in the end. I don't think it should be coming out of our art fund, but I'm just curious as to the cost.
To pull up the contract.
Don't grill me.
You're next.
I start looking at me.
You saw it.
He's gonna start asking me questions now.
So, City of Sculpture Northwest are responsible for specific costs of necessary permitting for the sculpture through the city's development services. So this is talking about permit costs. City shall pay for the shoreline development permit. Sculpture Northwest shall pay for all the previous permits. City's estimated permit cost is $39,000 or $3,978. And Sculpture Northwest is $2,900. Made your heart beat a little bit.
So less than $5,000?
No, I don't know. That's permitting costs. That's not the redesign. I was looking at in this in the amendment to the agreement. If they had is not cost about redesign, but it's not.
But it has to be done to.
For the new location.
For the
Engineering
the re-engineering of the, okay, so it's the re-engineering based on changing the location.
based on the geotech.
From being over.
Yeah.
City should pay.
I mean, I think we all do, but I don't think council is going to agree with us.
They changed it.
Eric?
I told you before that I felt like it was us that was moving it, therefore we should say it basically. I don't know what the rest of the council
Yeah.
said, but that was my
I mean,
thought.
I think that should be our message to council.
Based on the information in that.
Yeah, there was an agreement, you move forward based upon the agreement, and it changed.
Yeah.
If the cost isn't that much, then I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
And, you know, it doesn't have to go back to council or anything like that. If it costs is over 5,000, then it's a different discussion. So I want to get your guys' thoughts on that. Get the number back, and I wish I had the number, but he hasn't responded back.
I need to pay the difference.
When was his deadline for having to get the next step done? I mean, is this decision or this dollar amount gonna hold up what Gideon has to do, Brian? Or is it just the payment on what's been done?
So we are submitting. Let's see, I think we have all the permitting in as of last week.
So he should already have the bill somewhere.
Oh, for the redesign?
For the engineering. for the
No,
design.
he does.
Okay.
I
Can
don't
we
think we
just
need
table
any,
the discussion until we know the dollar amount?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, I don't want to speak for us collectively. Recapping, I think the city should pay for it, no matter what the dollar amount is. I don't think we need to come up with a threshold that we would tolerate as the Arts Commission, because ultimately, if the council doesn't approve it, we're going to have to pay it from somewhere. So I just kind of feel, what's that?
They have to approve it.
Yeah, but they have to approve where it's coming from. Oh, I got you. So, I mean, I almost feel like the decision is out of our hands. Yeah.
Well, and by
I mean, maybe we get it.
allowing,
I'm sorry.
it would set a precedent too, if we're
Well-
allowing, as you mentioned, the threshold, if we're allowing a threshold, where does that stop?
Well, maybe, is it possible to present it to council to be paid
Actually, there's a number.
with a number by the city?
And I would say that it's setting a precedent that if the council thinks that they want an art piece someplace else, when we've already picked a spot and paid for it, and then they expect us to pay for it to redesign that spot, I don't think that's right either.
I hope it never happens again.
Yeah.
Everyone learned a lesson.
Let's see, we have. Let's see, so we budgeted 7,000 for art project management. And then we have 5,000 for sculpture maintenance.
And the five.
So the 7,000 is really what I have to work in. So whatever we have not spent of that 7,000, that's how much I could spend without going back to council, because it's out of the special fund. I need to appropriate something from your fund balance, and that's going to take council approval to do.
I mean, I understand that we don't have to go back to council, but I would rather go back to council, letting them know that we want them to pay for it. Out of the city's budget, not this fund.
Sculpture. Obviously, you want the city to pay for it.
Mhm.
Something that isn't the art, creative art fund.
that's,
Yes.
I mean, I just think we need to express our opinion.
now is that something that we can turn around and say, the art commission, in this vote, to
We feel that, it doesn't,
We don't-
it doesn't have,
Fine.
it's not gonna, it might not hold water, but we spoke the piece.
we don't.
Maybe we can get on an August agenda. We have time for that. I think there's 2 meetings in August, like,
We have
Wednesday or
the
something.
workshop and 2 council meetings.
oh, there you go.
Okay.
And you never wanted to talk about it again. I remember you
Oh
specifically.
my gosh, I did say that to council. We'll never come back to you.
So the only two things I can say on to that is probably agree with the city should. The two things that could come up is the art fund balance. And if they're also pushing back, does that does that make council leery in future installations to say, no, we're not gonna do this so we're 1,000% sure this is where we wanna go, and is that gonna further slow up future projects?
Hopefully, there's more standard procedures in place that those things can be avoided.
I would hope, but they're not currently.
It's just gonna be our-
But in this one, we,
Sorry, I'm sorry, we should be humanized because they couldn't, because the city council didn't do their homework on what was presented, so.
So now we're in the
Well,
politics.
But it's a
Yeah,
different
I'm just-
council than the council that approved it originally.
Sure, and I'm speaking, I
that's-
wasn't on the arts commission when any of this was happening, so I'm just jumping into it from there, so, but it's just like, wow.
Yeah, no, it's a different council than the one that actually initially agreed. So
Okay.
that's kind of where we're running into some issues.
So the new council
members should.
I understand. I understand.
We have ACH
I
in
know,
our bank
I've been talking
accounts.
about this for the entire time I've been on the arts
Yeah.
commission, I am certainly ready, that,
Okay.
I'm ready for it to be done.
I have
So-
to excuse myself.
yeah, I was just gonna say, why don't we,
I
we
do
can,
have a meeting to run to. I
Yeah.
trust that you guys are gonna come up with the right solution.
That's pretty much all I
What's
have,
all
other
about
than, I think from our discussions, I think it's suggested we do a quarterly budget update. So I'll just give you guys this, you can look over it, but maybe we'll do an actual presentation on it.
Thank you, Mikhail. I'm sorry I have to run.
No, that's,
Brian, for future meeting, can you bring back the cover for the Acorn? Because we should figure out what we're gonna do with that, whether we're gonna cover it or not.
so we can, are we clear to go around for member comments? Okay. You got anything?
No, I don't. That was my only thing I had is if we bring the Acorn cover back at some point.
Thank you.
Okay.
After talking to, or having Maria here about her artwork in the garden, I was thinking, can you put art in rain gardens? That big rain garden
Put
that's
art
there?
anywhere.
Okay, so, I mean, there's another spot that she could put art. Something. If it's feasible. Anyway, that's my only comment.
I have a side, like, idea question, just wanna throw it out there now that everybody's gone apparently. But just something that I keep getting, cause I tell people that I run into that I'm on the Arts Commission and I like to like hear people's ideas and stuff, and if there's anything that kind of connects to what we're talking about, I kind of throw it at them, like, hey, we're working on this, it's really exciting. But somebody came to me and asked about like, if somebody, a member of the public was looking to do a project, such as, so like, same thing, Maria wants to put a statue. If a member of the public wants to do a project, are we open to like funding other leaders of art projects to complete their things and start their own things?
Well, that's part of what the art plan is going to address, because right now we
Okay.
don't really have a policy that dictates, okay, how do we do consignment for artists? How do we, what's our call for artist process? If there's an organization that will also do placemaking, that will also place a public art piece, where are those locations? How do we say yay or nay? Because you gotta be really careful of that, right?
Right,
Art is very subjective, and it can be very controversial. And it's very hard to say yes to someone because you feel like that art piece is tasteful and this art piece is not,
right,
right? So a plan puts in place, hey, here's what we reference when we go through these processes. Right? And it gives you kind of the roadmap of the procedures that you're following.
okay. Just something that the same person, because I was telling her the same thing, I don't know, but I'll find out for you, like, if this is something that we would ever do. Just the idea of some kind of like leaders in art, like that we could offer, not, I don't know, training or advice or something on how people can start their own art projects, because there's a ton of people with good ideas and their own property to do them on. So there's just, and I feel like in this group, there's an abundance of knowledge that people have from their experience and connections themselves. Like, our network is crazy. So just like empowering our own community to get their own projects done to a certain extent, so that we're not responsible for every single coloring page that people need, because they might have somebody that knows how to do graphic design. So just like empowering leaders in the community, not everybody needs to come join the Arts Commission and sit in on every meeting, but this is how you might be able to like set up your own art project in the future. just throwing it out
No.
there that somebody was interested in it.
Now, so having said that and everything, right now you have 8,300 that is budgeted out for placement of art.
Okay,
And some of that's given to Driftwood Days, donation to Oak Harbor School District, some of that's discretionary, it's only about 1,500 discretionary. But this is out of, I mean, you've only budgeted 20,000 out of 60,000 that come in every year into that creative arts fund. Council's already kind of expressed a little, they were a little perturbed that we have such a large fund balance, right? Like, okay, we need to use these funds. And right now, year over year, we're not even budgeting out the full amount that we're bringing. So I think there's a lot of opportunity and ability and resources, especially monetary resources for you guys to support that kind of stuff.
That goes back to, there's never been a plan
Right.
for anybody to figure out how to get those people, how to get the word out that this is available to be done. And we don't know how to do that.
And you want to be a little bit careful because you don't want to just say, hey, we have blank checks to write, come and give us your best presentation, right?
yeah.
I don't think we want to be a grant administrator.
Mhm.
So that's something that we need to flesh out in the plan as well, is what is the best and highest use of these funds? Now, part of your powers and duties is promoting local artists and building an art community, right? So I definitely think there is a place for, supporting other art organizations. We just need to flesh that out.
Figure out how.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it being like framing it as like empowering leaders, like, so that it's like we don't have to lead everybody. We don't have to be responsible for every single thing that happens, but we've got the money to make it happen. I like spending money.
Tracy,
I want to revisit the presentation we made with the buskers. Is there anything that we need to do with that?
No movement that I know of from Cynthia. I have a very weird schedule and my life is insane right now. So I haven't been volunteering myself for anything with it. I think that Cynthia was working through the paperwork parts and like the permitting parts.
Gotcha.
We've got our ideas as far as like where things could go, and thankfully nothing needs to be installed. There are no like actual permitting from our end needs to happen on like clearing spaces. So once the paperwork and the official part is worked through, it should theoretically be able to kind of start whenever we're ready to get it going and like submit it to who it needs to go to. I am still learning all of those parts. so I'm not exactly sure, but that's why I'm happy for the experience.
Yeah, that was included one of the art programming sections for the priorities. So like I said, I really need to get this spreadsheet out to you guys, and then we need to assign people to each of these, so we can get some of these like smaller meetings to go over that. And, okay, here's the next process. Because I mean that's why you have the city staff. We don't expect you guys to have a part-time job working.
that sounds good. Okay, the way I got it, for Lotus T-Bar, I will work with Maria on that one and just start flushing that into a plan, the Acorn coloring page. We'll invite somebody that will put that on, Laura on that. I've already got the committee will meet next Thursday for the art plan. And then off the quarterly budget, for recreation update, we'll look at getting the quarterly budget. And a couple of the items that we have for future agenda items, why don't we, when you send out the agenda, the draft agenda, if everybody could please RSVP with that, with throwing something on. But I'd like to, if we're throwing it on the agenda, make sure it's something that we can put our teeth into it, and that we're just not jib-jabbing on it. And
One other item,
Yeah.
an update was utility boxes, maybe on a future
Yeah,
agenda, the wrapping of the
yeah.
Yes.
utility.
And I can actually turn around and say that I'll take that for action, because I've already been in touch with the school and some of the art teachers. They're now counting the days Xing them off when it starts.
Yeah, I think too, if there was a point of, if there's things like that that are like an ongoing project, like maybe there's a space on the agenda for old business, and if there's an
Yeah.
update, give the update, but necessarily you don't have to talk about it every single time, but at least it would keep your current projects on the radar instead of us trying to like every month say, oh, what are we supposed to put? Who wants?
Yeah, good,
I-
yeah.
I actually have
Yeah,
a question
I
about the
agree.
utility boxes I need to find out. So we had that approved by council when appropriated. How do we actually get that payment to the school district?
Does it go to the school
Does
district?
it
Goes
need
to
to go
the-
to the school district?
to the sign,
Because
yeah,
it would
doesn't
be go to the
Yeah.
sign people, because the school district, well, we're gonna ask
To
them.
the
to do it.
contractors?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the school district did their own part,
But
right?
isn't the school district managing that contract?
No, I don't think they have to. We can only do is just give us the art and then we'll figure out.
Okay, so we'll manage the
We'll
contract.
manage the contract so that we don't hold them responsible for anything except give us art.
Okay.
And then we can figure out how to wrap it.
And how long do you think it'll take before the designs are done?
There's no little kids doing any art right now, so as soon as they start up at school and they know that this is a project, the art teachers they're aware of this, and they're, I think this is pretty cool. So we can,
Okay, but you're heading all.
yep, I'll take that,
Okay.
I've got that for action.
All right, you have that up. I'll take care of the contract. That kind of thing. Okay.
When does school start?
September 5th.
Okay, goodbye.
It must be.
For most
Yes.
people, you're like, you're counting the days, can't wait.
Compared to a lot of areas.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure,
so our next meeting.
It's normal.
And we just want, what the priorities is, I wasn't at the last workshop, we don't need to have those special work sessions. We think the priorities are pretty set. Anything, to approve them, we have to do it at open meeting, so that was my question.
I would say.
Because
just to
noons are
ease
hard.
You on this, as long as you're doing this committee meeting, which is still working on that thing, let's just put off on workshop.
Yeah, I'm trying to go, I wanted to just do the priorities with you guys, with everyone, and then take that, assign the committees, and then we go forward
Yeah,
with
so why
committees
don't,
and
I
not.
think we got enough, that everyone's got kind of enough work that we can.
Great.
Start moving that on and free you up, so you.
So we'll just stick with the monthly meetings. So next one is August 10th,
August 10th,
5
p.m.
o'clock here.
That's good, everybody. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
No.
Oh.
Oh,
All in favor?
All in favor? Yeah, okay. How about vacant and public?
No one else.